Hi, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're making clam chowder. Inspired by my trip to Seattle, I've got some manila clams here. We had gooey duck in Seattle, which was, kind of a first for me. You take half of that and it was great for the ceviche that we made. And then the other half is good for clam chowder and stir fries and different kind of uses like you would use for like normal manilas. The first phase that we need to do is we're going to steam these clams. Just so you know, I've soaked these for about 2 hours, 3 hours in water, which kind of lets them, clean themselves out. I've changed the water 3 or 4 times, and that's so we can get all the grit, or most of the grit we can, out of these clams before we cook them. I want to get a good steam, so we got a hot pan, onions and thyme and everything right on top. A little salt and pepper for me, and it's going to end up giving us a seasoned broth here. And then when it's nice and hot like that, I got a glass of good Chardonnay here. Dry Chardonnay. And we're just going to let that steam at high heat. See these sizzling coming up from the pans? A little bubbling coming out. Boom, open it. It's been about 5 minutes. And what we're looking for is to make sure that all the clams are open. Got a couple open, but not all of them, so I'm going to get this lid right back on there. Pull out one for me to snack on. Most of them are open. A couple stragglers here, but that's good. We don't want to overcook the ones that are open. Dump it right here. That's what I want right there. We want to put that back into our chowder. It's all the natural juice from the clams that seeped out into the wine. So I'm taking these out and I'm going to put them on my cutting board. Chop them up to go back into the chowder. Kind of rough, not too fine, but make sure the soup gets a little bit of clam in each bite. So we want to cook these vegetables and the bacon without any color at all, which is called sweating. Put it all in at once because we're not trying to brown anything. And I'm going to put a little scoop of butter in there. I'm going to turn this down low. It'll create steam and it'll fall back down into the pot and it'll keep it from browning so much. We'll check that in about 5 minutes. Okay, after I got the process here started, I'm going to go ahead and throw my potatoes in now. I want those to soften up a little bit, and I want them to kind of break down and add a little starch to the chowder. I'm going to add just a little bit of my broth here. Just going to let that keep seeping in there and get soft. All right, so I put the clam juice in, and I want that clam juice to be in here to really steep into the vegetables and the potatoes and reduce a little bit. And what I'm looking for before we take the next step are these potatoes to be nice and soft. Don't try that at home, that's really hot. I'm going to take that step a little bit farther with my wooden spoon, and I'm just going to mash these a little bit. Kind of makes it a little bit creamy. I'm doing that to get the texture for the chowder. And I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of flour on top of this. So that's maybe a teaspoon. Maybe a little bit more. I don't want it to get too pasty, but a little bit pasty because we're going to add our milk next. I'm going to turn that up a little bit because I want that to come to a simmer a little. A little oregano. That should go in the beginning actually. I forgot it. Alright, now that that's all in there, I'm going to throw our clams in. I'm doing the clams last so they don't overcook. Be nice and tender like they were when we pulled them out. I'm going to make sure my consistency is correct. I've seen chowders you can stand your spoon up in, and I've seen some that were very watery. So again, it seems like there's a personal preference here. I like mine in the middle. I like it to be somewhat creamy, but not overly thick. That's very nice. We put a little bit of flour in there just to kind of give it some body. And anytime we put flour in something, I like to give it at least 5 to 7 minutes to kind of cook out a little bit. So my finish up here is a little bit of fresh lemon in there just to round out those flavors. A little bit of salt. There we go. Clam chowder.